Hey, it's me again, same outfit, different review. Basically, I went abroad the other week. Woo, lovely holiday. Not that you can tell, because you know, I don't look any more tanned than I normally do. Down my father's Irish skin, but there you go. I have actually been abroad, and so I have a huge backlog of reviews to do. So I'm just going to do 2 in one day. I've done a book one previously that I posted previously of Cress in the Moon Chronicle series. I'll leave it below if you're interested. But this is going to be a film review and a film review of Inside Out. Anybody that watches me at any point over, I don't know, I sit in the chair, sorry, I just randomly hit my chair. Anybody that's watched any of my videos will be able to tell that I'm a really big Disney and Pixar fan. So I'm now conscious of the fact that my washing machine is making a lot of noise. So if you can't hear me right now, I'm sorry, but I will try to speak up. Right, so as I was saying, anybody that's watched any of my videos will know that I am a huge Disney and Pixar fan, and therefore I've been anticipating the release of Inside Out for quite some time now. Especially as the young female protagonist is called Riley, and obviously I'm called Riley, and so it made me really happy and yay, and I felt like it was a small moment connection, and yes, I'm as sad as that. So I really was looking forward to this film. I've been quite disappointed with Pixar's sort of most recent run of films. I wasn't a huge fan of Monsters University. I didn't feel like it had the same sort of Pixar buzz that the other films maybe had, and I also don't really like Cars 2, so I'm not becoming a huge fan of their sequels recently, and so their more recent releases have actually upset me a little bit because they're not the Pixar I know and love, and they didn't provide it. I personally don't feel the depth and the creativity that I'm used to seeing from a Pixar film. However, this film I feel like got Pixar back on track, personally for me. It is very much a kids film. I feel like for the first time in Pixar, maybe it's because I'm growing up a little bit, but this is the first Pixar film I felt very much was aimed at kids and not adults. I mean, I'm not a family. There was a lot more kid jokes and things like that, and a lot less family jokes than there normally would be. But I think that's because of the thing they were trying to tackle, and I think they tackled it in a really interesting way. Basically, it appeared that Pixar was trying to tackle the issue of mental illness and how it affects people and try to explain it to children. And therefore, it was almost a reverse for me for Pixar what it normally does. Because normally, in my opinion, Pixar picks quite a simplistic theme, but explores it over quite a complex story. So it'll pick something quite I don't want to say simple, but quite easy to understand. Something like, say, for example, with Up and Grief. Basically, I feel like the whole of Up is, if you really wanted to bring it down to just one principal word, the word would be grief. And then the story itself is actually quite complex and goes through different types of grief. You're losing loved ones, losing dreams, losing hopes, all things like that. But predominantly, it's just about grief, and the different ways of showing it. And so it's quite a simple thing to latch onto, but has to be shown in quite a complex way because there's so many elements that go into making up grief. Where I feel like this was almost done the complete opposite way, which is quite an interesting change for Pixar. Basically, I feel like this was all about the theme of mental illness, and that's a really complex thing to do because they weren't being 100% specific. It was just mental illness. It almost felt like in general it was quite broad, and it was trying to explain, I felt, mental illness to children, which they actually do really well. I'll get onto that later. But I feel because of that and such the complexity of this thing to try to convey to a child and hard to explain, the storyline was really simplistic and simple. The characters were almost two-dimensional, as you would almost expect, because the main principal characters were just parts of emotions. They didn't really have any other emotions affecting them. They were very two-dimensional in the way they were displayed because they just displayed that one emotion that made up our principal character of Riley. So it was really interesting and a really different way of doing it, but I really enjoyed it. I really liked what Pixar was trying to achieve. I finally felt like the animation and the creativity again came on leaps and bounds, as I would expect from a Pixar film. I go to a Pixar film to see an enhancement in every area. I feel like watching a Pixar film to me is almost like watching a piece of art. I just think it's beautiful, and so that was fantastic. And I felt I really latched onto this quite simplistic and storyline and characters that were almost quite beautifully portrayed. If anybody does not know anything about Inside Out, which I find incredibly hard to believe because I think I'm one of the last people to have seen this film, but predominantly it's all based on the inside of of someone's head and the 5 principal emotions that make us up and how that affects our memories and the way we behave. And so you have joy, sadness, anger, disgust and fear, and how all 5 of them are affecting the main character Riley, right, and how her actions and how she's feeling. But you also get snippets inside other people's heads, like her mum and her dad and her teacher and things like that. But basically the 5 characters remain within. And what happens is we're also made up of these things called core memories. So our core memories affect our personality and things like that. And then these core memories are affected by the emotion we felt when making these core memories. It just so happens that something goes wrong and joy and sadness are taken out of the sort of control panel in our brain. And so Riley begins to lose her core memories, which is her personality, and she begins to feel nothing. She almost becomes quite, I don't want to say brain dead because she's still thinking, but I'm trying to think of a way to analogize it because all the words have left my brain. But basically, she kind of loses herself, and then has to, joy and sadness have to get back to her control center for her to become herself again and start a sort of sense of recovery. And it almost becomes an understanding at the end that we need all our emotions sort of to work together for a memory to make the memory precious and important to us. And it was just a really interesting way of looking at it all. I don't want to give any spoilers, right? I feel like I might have given a few, but I thought that was quite spoiler free as a synopsis. But predominantly that's the idea of this film, and it was just done really, really well. Of course I cried at the end. I always cry at the end of most Pixar films. I feel like Pixar films really know how to pull on the heartstrings, and I did cry. I did get very emotional. Everything was made 10 times worse because all the characters are obviously saying Riley. And so for some really stupid reason, that affected me a lot more than it would possibly of any other character. I don't know if it had a huge effect, but definitely towards the end when they were saying things, I really felt it on a more emotional, personal level. I don't know if other people are going to get that, but I do think it's quite a film that's very easy to identify with. Everybody knows, like, has felt those 5 principal emotions. Everyone's felt angry and sad and happy and disgusted and fearful. And so I don't know, it really connected with me as a person. I feel like it would connect with many people. I think it was really brilliantly done, and I feel like Pixar is up to their game once more, and I'm looking now forward to the next Pixar release, and it was just really, really enjoyable to watch. I would give Inside Out an 8.5 out of 10. I feel like it's definitely one of the best Pixar films Pixar's done in a while, but it's not just quite Pixar's golden era for me, but that could be because of the nostalgic connection I have with Pixar's golden era. So I'm trying to look at this in an objective way, but I'm struggling to because I have too many emotional ties with Pixar.